would you say is your biggest red flag in men?
Having kids. Thank you. Having kids. I don't like baby daddies.
So if they have a kid, they're done.
I might play with you, but I really don't see any future.
Women know we are not their piece, but for some reason, my brothers, we think they can be ours. If I was speaking right now to a group of men and I asked what is the one thing they all wanted, they all would yell, peace.
Everybody talking about they want a man, they want a husband, they want their king, they want the man God has for them, man. I'm in my house trying to watch the big TV. I can't watch Love Island because the final's on. And he holding the remote hostage. Are y'all sure this is what y'all want?
He said to me one time, I find it fascinating that you came back from Pakistan with no PTSD, but you have crippling PTSD from your divorce. And I said, I allowed myself, despite my training, to trust one person. And that was the person who betrayed me.
The belief that a woman can be a man's piece has emotionally and mentally crippled countless men. Not because those men were naive, but because many of those men were never taught what peace actually is, or where it truly comes from.
Hey, all that wifey shit is dead.
I seen this one content creator and she said literally only 50 years ago women got their rights to work. So why the fuck would I feel bad for a nigga, bitch? We literally had to fight to work, bitch. You've been having all this time to work all your life. All I'm saying, fuck a nigga.
Put that shit to bed.
The issue is not that women cannot bring comfort, support, wisdom, companionship, love, encouragement, or partnership, but many men mistakenly expect emotional and mental salvation from the relationship.
I'ma make them bad when I want some head.
Because the first experience of comfort most men ever receive comes from their mother. From a psychological perspective, the nervous system of a baby boy learns early that when he is distressed, hungry, afraid, or overwhelmed, the person who usually restores calm is his mother. So subconsciously, boys learn that when they feel stressed, a woman will bring them peace. But tragically, many men carry that template into adulthood, and adult relationships were never meant to function like maternal regulation.
All that wifey shit is dead. Put that shit to bed.
Peace is not the absence of stress, conflict, or adversity. Peace is being in the midst of those things and still remaining calm at heart.
All that wifey shit is dead.
Out of curiosity, I wanted to see the latest offering of Meg Thee Stallion off the heels of her breakup with Klay Thompson, in which she says all that wifey stuff is dead, and aptly enough, the song is called Wifey-ish. But if you look at today's top 100 Billboard charts, one thing you'll notice is, besides the many offerings from Drake, which I guess is kind of an indictment on what pop music has become, is that you're seeing, one, a re-emergence of Michael Jackson, probably from the popularity of his movie being released, as well as just how good his music was. But you'll also see, outside of Young Miami's appearance at 66 for her new song Spin That the presence of black women R&B singers has dwindled almost to being non-existent. The exact opposite of 30 years ago.
Shit is dead.
You will often hear people speak about how the 90s was peak Americana, and as Gen Xers, it's kind of hard to disagree with that culture-wise, because in the middle of a historic Jordan Bulls run, we had black women on the radio singing of their love for black men, and this is all happening when we were saying goodbye to our Uncle Charles at the crossroads.
See you at the crossroads, so you move along.
It may seem difficult for people to understand it these days, but in a particular week in early June in 1996, we could hear the incredibly sexy, attractive Toni Braxton singing about how the love of her man was making her high. Or you could listen to the teeny bop R&B love song of a Brandy saying that until she's with the guy that she's in love with, all she's going to do is sit in her room thinking about him because she's a mess for him and there's nothing she can do except wait on him to decide to be with her. Or we could listen to the incredibly, and I mean incredibly talented Lauryn Hill sing the remake of Roberta Flack's Killing Me Softly. And then there is one of the most, if not the most influential or important songs of my lifetime, Always Be My Baby by Mariah Carey. A song which is basically an ode to someone that, for whatever reason, can't be with you, but you care for them deeply, and forever they will always have a special place in your heart. A song that helped me get through the difficulty of losing my mother as a teenager. And what's crazy about the summer of 1996 is this being the beginning of the summer, we would get a Jay-Z album, Reasonable Doubt. We would get It Was Written by Nas. We would get an album from Aaliyah, One in a Million. And then, of course, at the end of the summer,
this is just in the DMV because I feel like when you go down south, it's a little bit different. Men here don't necessarily approach you. So I feel like, I don't know if men are gun shy or like they just don't, have enough.
They think they the
confidence.
catch.
They the prize.
They think they the catch. It's too sassy. It's too sassy for me. That's what it is. Yeah, why don't men pursue? Why don't they take the initiative? Why don't they take the lead?
It's funny hearing these kinds of conversations because if you go back a couple of decades ago, you really didn't need to have this conversation. It was non-existent because, well, if a young lady looked like Toni Braxton, I mean, just a little bit like, let's say 15-20% like Toni Braxton, and she's in relatively good shape, and she's nice, and she likes you, or she reminds you of Lauryn Hill, or she reminds you of Brandy, and she likes that song, and when she is in your vicinity, she's listening to that song, and she's being nice to you. When you hear Jason Wilson speak of peace, he may be misconstruing what many men mean when they say peace with this idea that a woman is supposed to make your life perfect. No, a woman in your life is supposed to make you feel better, make you feel a certain way, that when she's there, you get that feeling that you get when you were listening to Toni Braxton or Mariah Carey or Lauryn Hill sing those songs to the guys that they were singing them to in those particular songs of the 90s. And so this panel of young ladies are mystified by the fact that that energy is gone. But there's a simple explanation for it.
Why don't they take the initiative? Why don't they take the lead? Most of the times, females, are we supposed to shoot our shot? I don't necessarily think so, however we can. But I think we should be able to position ourselves in a way to say, hey, I caught your eye, you caught my eye, all right, man, you make the first step.
When you catch his eye, what do you do to let him know
I'm positioning myself. I'm positioning myself. Okay, I'm like, hello, I'm here.
What's going to change everything is if women stop being so responsive and feeling like you have to perform and you have to be the Instagram model, gotta do everything everybody else is doing.
I have been single for 5 years, and in these 5 years, I have learned a few things. Number one, I think that living alone is where the real peace is. I could never see myself living with another man ever again in my life. That's just totally out. Another thing that I have learned is that settling is a form of self-sabotage because there is no growth there. If you're settling, you're not growing. You'll never grow.
If women start to realize that a man needs a woman just as much as a woman needs a man, and then she understands her power and her position, her influence.
If I know that I can get cat from this, I do not mind my money falling in his hat. If it's a cat in there.
The girls are freaking out because they're seeing a lot of their faves either break up, separate, divorce, or call off engagements. And I'm just going to say this. I think the collective of women are truly waking up to the reality that the idea of love that they had in mind is not real.
So that way she can decide for herself, what life do I want to live? So I think once women realize that as men, we will adapt. If there was a rule that said a man has to cut off his left foot in order to be intimate with a woman, 90% of men would be one-footed.
The version of love that they unknowingly submitted to involved self-abandonment. And now that they're waking up to that, they are now choosing themselves and they're removing themselves from said relationship that required them to self-abandon.
We do what it takes to get what we want.
If it's cat in the hat, I don't mind throwing $1 in there.
When a woman is truly working on herself and she is doing the work where she is coming into the realization of self-actualization and she's understanding her self-worth and her value, she's not going to self-abandon just to be in partnership or to be in a relationship or to just have a family and kids. And if she did submit at one point, she's going to remove herself from that. So that's what you're seeing.
But if there's no cat in his hat, please move this hat out my face.
You're seeing women wake up and you're seeing how they're no longer wanting to choose self-abandonment just to be loved, just to be married, just to have kids and be in a family. It is very normal, in my opinion, to see this considering everything that's going on in the world and the new world that we're currently shifting into. That old way, that old dynamic is just dying. And it's no longer going to be centered around a woman being loved, but she has to self-abandon, and then a woman being married, but has to self-abandon. No woman is going to want to be in a partnership or a marriage that is designed like that. And a lot of us are walking away from the idea of love and romance because it ultimately leads to self-abandonment. And some of us are also unsubscribing from motherhood because of self-abandonment. It's the Great Awakening.
But if there's no cat in his hat, please move this hat out my face.
And all that wifey shit is dead. And all that wifey shit is dead. And all that wifey shit is dead.
She fucking him spending.
If I was speaking right now to a group of men and I asked what is the one thing they all wanted, they all would yell, peace. But sadly, many of those men would never attain peace until they stop believing it comes from a woman. The belief that a woman can be a man's peace has emotionally and mentally crippled countless men. Not because those men were naive, but because many of those men were never taught what peace actually is or where it truly comes from. The issue is not that women cannot bring comfort, support, wisdom, companionship, love, encouragement, or partnership, but many men mistakenly expect emotional and mental salvation from the relationship. And as a result, peace itself is elusive.
I will say this. I do believe that Jason means well. When he's telling men that they can't get peace from a woman, it's a bit obvious, I guess, that the idea that you're going to get with a woman in your life is going to get immediately better and everything's going to click into place. But I don't think most men really believe that. I think like the gentleman that's watching the finals and his wife comes home and she's demanding to watch some television show that can be watched basically anytime except real time because it's a tape TV show, and she's demanding to watch it on the big TV when the finals is basically once a year. Men are looking at that situation and saying, what in that situation is so great that if she wasn't there, I couldn't have it? I mean, that's just the logistics of the situation. So when you hear these other young ladies talking about how they're trying to essentially do the same thing as men, it's a little bit different because most men just don't have the company of women to begin with. And to get the company of a woman, it requires a lot of effort. And if you ask most men, if you could get a difficult woman, but she made you feel the way that you felt when you listened to those songs of the 90s, would you deal with it? Most men would say, yeah, I'd do that. But if a young lady is coming in like we're hearing on social media these days and saying 50-50 is basically a slave for you, and that just means that the average man can get a slave in his household, and that I'm going to have so much more housework and things to do if I come live with you as opposed to me living by myself, then do you really want that in your life? And I think that that's a new reality that more and more men are contemplating. If you're a guy and you have to go through all of those hoops just to get a young lady to come to your house, and maybe she's not happy there, she's difficult, she feels like she's oppressed there, then that kind of takes away the prize from the beginning. The prize listening to those love songs of the 1990s is that occasionally you're going to feel really, really good being around that young lady. But if she just doesn't really like men very much to begin with, You're not going to even have those moments, but you're going to have plenty of moments where you're expected to pay for things, to do things, to take her places, and it's quite possible that she may not even appreciate any of it. And so when we talk about peace, it's simple. Am I going to be able to occasionally have those really good, warm, fuzzy feelings and have some kind of common accord in the house where we're being cooperative and we're not really butting heads a lot? No. Then it goes down to the least common denominator, cat in the hat. If there's cat in that hat, then guys will throw money in that hat. And that's apparently where it's going. And I don't think that many young ladies are ready for that. They may say they are, but it's not going to be pretty when we actually get there. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. I'll catch you next video. Take care, guys.